think it's time for me to actually open up about how I've been feeling. Just how life has been for the past year, especially after my spiritual awakening. It's been really tough, and a lot has happened. It's just like when you realize that what your ego has constructed out the world to be, it's not even what it's even real. And you have to spend a lot of time just dismantling everything you believe was true, everything that you thought was your identity, and construct something completely new, something that actually does align with your true higher self. This is hard. I don't know, but like, I guess this is raw and this is real. Yeah. I feel like I just need to say what's on my mind, finally, once and for all. Something I told myself I would never do, but here I am, making this video. And trying to just navigate my life and everything. And honestly, I don't even know what what the hell I'm saying. Like, I don't. Like, it's being really, really stupid right now. Okay. Like, your girl's out here doing her best. I just feel like I feel like even sometimes I feel like I'm not even, I don't know what's the word for it. Like, being the main character in my own life, it's like, yeah, I know it in theory, but do I know it in practice? I don't know. I feel like I'm just talking to a camera and I just don't even know what the hell I'm saying. Like, my thoughts are really just everywhere, and I feel like I'm just been having I feel like me creating this alone is just a big wake-up call for me, because I feel like a lot of the things I used to do, like, I would just live in the it's like just a figment of my own imagination. Like, at this point, it's just because I'm just so focused on rolling this joint that I don't even know what I'm thinking about. I don't even know what I'm saying. But what I mean by kind of living in this fragment of my own imagination is just kind of creating these like elaborate storylines and scenarios in my head that I know are just not real, but I use them in order for me to cope with the reality that I did not like living in, and that was the majority of my life. And I feel like it's like, you know, I've worked through a lot of the things that happened to me in the past, but now I look at it as like, did it happen to me or did it happen for me? Because even it doesn't seem like it then, it is a huge lesson. And you know, as time goes by, it's a bit easier to look at things objectively. And I think going on a journey, like whether it's like a spiritual journey or, you know, you really are trying to work on yourself, become a better person, showing up better, it's not easy. Like, people only think about like, oh, how they already are when they're already there, like when they already have like their physical and material needs met and whatever, like they just seem so happy. And sometimes but people really don't like. I feel like I don't know what I'm really saying right now, but like what I'm mostly thinking about is just how, I don't know. Let me just finish rolling this joint at this point, because what the hell am I saying? I don't freaking know. That's what I mean. Like, my thoughts are everywhere. Like, me wanting to make this video, like, ooh, 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 ooh. Because, like, I just feel like sometimes I don't really have much to contribute. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Like, look at all these amazing other talented YouTubers. Am I right? Like, and look at me. I'm sitting at my desk, rolling a joint, just rambling about some of the things that are just really on my mind. And half the time, like, I know what's on my mind, but I don't even know how to decipher what's on my mind. It's so hard. I do. I just sometimes, I just want to just shut down my brain sometimes. It's just like, ooh, just want to, just, I don't know. But I feel like in particular right now, I really want to discuss maladaptive daydreaming. Like, truly. Because, so, this whole year alone, I've been working through a lot of like some of these coping mechanisms that I've dealt with that really, at the time had it served its purpose for when I was a child and as an adolescent, but I used it as an outlet to escape my reality. I, growing up with like narcissistic parents, and I never really felt like I had a voice, and I just never feel like I really knew who I was. And I also had that, like, on top of that, I had that layer of also growing up as someone who's overweight. And to all my folks who were overweight children, teenagers, it's a little cruel. It can be a little cruel. But I was just seeing little parts of my reality that I did not like at all, and I was just creating these elaborate daydreams of like, oh, like me having the perfect partner, perfect home, or perfect grades, whatever. Like, and so there was periods during this year where I would like completely, I would stop listening to music, because one of the biggest triggers for maladaptive daydreaming for me is music. And so I started, taking breaks from music weeks at a time when I just felt called to do it. Like when I felt it in my spirit, that's like, oh, you really need to calm down with all of these like daydreams, these thoughts that like, honestly, like they're not serving me a purpose. They're not getting me nowhere. The type of thoughts I was having, like, they're great. They're like, it's like a reflection of like what I desire and stuff like that, but they weren't helping me reach closer toward my goals. They weren't. That's the funny thing is, it's, if anything, it's like I'm over here daydreaming about things that I wish I had, or this is what I think my dream life should look like, but yet that exact action that I was taking to think about those things, that's the same mental energy that I could have actually been giving towards those things, but I was giving towards the fantasy. Like, I was just trapped in the state of just wanting, the feeling of wanting, but not actually embodying, not being. And if, like, if you're familiar with the law, like concept of the law of attraction, I think this is kind of when it gets hard, especially for me when I want to try to manifest. Like, I just feel like, okay, where was I? Talking about how maladaptive daydreaming was not helping me get closer towards my goals, because what I was realizing is that mixing that up with the law of attraction, it's like, it's because when you're maladaptive daydreaming, you're in a state of escapism, so you already know that these thoughts that you're having are not real, and then you want these things, but you're not really being in a place where you could feel like, oh, like, what am I doing for me to attract this perfect relationship, attract this perfect home, attract this perfect job? And you're kind of just, you like, literally, it's like being a prisoner in your own brain. And that's kind of like what trauma does to you. Like, really, it does. Like, I'm just being so real and raw, because like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't I don't know. kind of cool. I guess I could talk about loneliness in a way. Loneliness. Loneliness. That's a big one. You know, I don't know if I'm lonely or just alone. Part of me sometimes feels like I'm lonely, but I know that I just know I'm just in a state of being where I'm just like alone in my own company, and it's to the point where I do prefer my own company. Um, yeah, I'm just like doing this right now because I don't know what the fuck I want out of life. Like, I don't know. I think okay, once I get this joint going, I think my thoughts would definitely be more flowy. Makes more sense because like when I'm high, I be having like all these type of thoughts, and I'm like, why can't I just record this or like write this in my journal? And it's like when I do write it in my journal, like it's a bit more of a watered down version of what the thought actually was, but I still get the point through. So the point for me is to understand why I'm having these thoughts. Um, like actually, yeah, I think this is actually what I want to say about loneliness, especially being in my mid 20s. Um, why, right? You're young, you're this, you're fresh out of college or whatever. Get out there, live your life. Okay, I mean, personally for me, I feel like I am living my life in a way because, I am very comfortable in my own body, my own self. Like, I have a lot of hobbies, and, but I feel like it gets a little mundane, a little bit here and there when I just don't know. Like, oh, okay, let me continue because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Anyways, what I was saying about my age, why is that even relevant to what I'm talking about? It's because, like, since I know myself pretty well and I know what the type of things I'm into, the type of things I'm into are just like considered pretty unusual, especially for people my age. Like, I'm really into journaling, reading, all that stuff, and it's kind of hard to kind of find someone who kind of resonates with me on that level. Like I've had met those kind of people. It's just I feel out of place sometimes, and it's kind of hard to feel like to find someone that has like common interests as me. But I mean, like I said, because I get so comfortable in my own company, it's like, am I actually really putting the effort to actually meet those type of people? Because honestly, I have. Like, I actually made a great friend that I met at a bookstore. Like, last time we spoke, like, we were just talking about world history, and it was just awesome. Like, that's what I mean. That's the type of people I'm looking for. But I don't know. Part of me feels like I'm so left out because, like, I'm not really into mainstream topics or things, and I'm kind of like expected to, I guess, because that's what people like me, like the stereotype, whatever it is, like that's what we're expected to do or something. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I do want a little bit more, but I think actually I do. I want to make sure I fill up this whole one, so I'm gonna go and grab a bit more. And like, oh my god, like even in my shirt, like this deodorant. I got this deodorant from Target and it sucks, but I got a 2-pack and I've been using it since like March. Like it came in 2, but honestly, do I even want to put this in that video? Like, I don't even know. Like, I feel like I'm bringing attention towards it, even though people probably don't really care or something. I don't know. Maybe they won't notice, but I mean, is it a really big deal? Not really. It's like, okay. The deodorant's not done, but I know that's clearly not a brand of deodorant I'll ever buy again. It's just not good for me personally. But so, like, literally, my thoughts are jumbled everywhere. This is like literally like I'm literally sitting in front of my camera, kind of just saying what's on my mind, but I feel like I'm not saying it in a way that is coherent. I don't know. I think it could just be me being in my own head about how I'm executing some how I am decapitating, I guess, some of like the thoughts that are in my mind, because like literally I have like 1,000 miles. My mind goes 1,000 miles per hour. Like it does. It's a blessing and a curse because I could use it for ways that really help me, but at the same time I feel like, I don't know, most of the time it does not help me. And it feels like I'm being trapped. It's like, you know, when you're a prisoner of your own ego, your own psyche. It's not a pretty feeling, or just a pretty state you feel like you want to be in. I think for me at least, like, I just feel like I'm always living in worry. Like, why am I living in such worry? Like, is it because of like my past experience and stuff like that, which I'm really gonna get into a little bit, because I feel like that definitely ties into what I was talking about maladaptive daydreaming and loneliness. Like, she goes deep. She goes really, really deep. Like, anyways, like I was saying earlier in the beginning of this video, just about the beginning phases of my spiritual journey and all that, and learning, like when I started to really tap into like my divine feminine, that's when shit went turn a little things a bit around. Like, if you're familiar with tarot, you know the card, the Tower card. Yeah, that like was pretty much all of 2022 for me. Okay. Like, wow. Okay. So I feel like, I really need to get it out and finally just kind of talk about my story, just a little bit of it, and because I feel like it's just not something I really need to like hold in, and especially too if I know it can help others and help us all. Like, if I can, because like I said, my thoughts everywhere. YouTube has helped me a lot in my spiritual journey, and then if I could leave like a similar footprint where I could help others who came from like just a familiar background as me, or went through things that I've been through, and just dealing with similar problems, like, just, it's nice to hear just a voice and knowing that you're not alone and you're not crazy or whatever you like to think that, like, I like to think that I am, like, right? Like, no, like, I'm going through the human experience and I have human emotions, and the human experience, none of us can try to exempt ourselves from it. No matter how much we try, we can't. It's gonna come with its joys. It's gonna come with like it's the disappointments and all of that. But speaking about, so pretty much I'm in a place where I no longer speak to my mother's side of the family because it was very toxic for me to continue living under being influenced by like my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, my mother, my stepfather from that side of the family. Like, it was really, really hard. And I lived with my mom and my relatives before I moved earlier this year. And so honestly, it was at the time, like, my childhood. Okay, I think it's time to give a little context, right? I did not have the best childhood, I would say, but the funny thing is, if you've grown up with a narcissistic parent, you will resonate with this a lot. Gift giving. My mother was really, really good at that. Money, gift giving, especially to me, to other people, and also all that stuff. My mom would, and my stepdad as well, would provide like the physical needs that I needed, or it was nice to get a nice pair of sneakers and that iPad, but I just never felt that emotional bond was there. And I always knew that there was just something that was kind of just abnormal about my family dynamics. And not only that, but what comes with some of those like good things, like, oh, this material possessions, whatever, no, it comes at a price. And I think like in my mother's head, it was more like, well, I got this for you, that means you owe me everything or whatever. And that's just, yeah. And why I bring this up, it's because because my mom, you know, she did provide all these things, my cousins would show some types of jealousy towards me because of that. And um I like got into a fight earlier this year, and then I got into like, so me and my mother got into this big disagreement. And that's kind of like when I really start to see like just the whole dynamics of my family just really hitting towards me. It's like I saw it, but it's like now you really see it. Because like when I was kind of going through like, accepting that this is kind of who I'm dealing with, like how my parents kind of are, like, but it it was a shocker. It's a huge shocker. We got into like, the funny thing is, um we got into like a disagreement, and she attempted to pull, like, her and her husband did the silent treatment thing, things narcissists do. Obviously I didn't care, didn't buy into it, because I grieved the mother that I knew I should have had. And just knowing that the mother I wanted, the idea of what I thought a mother is not, does not actually align with who was physically my mother, like my physical mom and what a mom truly is two different people. But when you're kind of living in this cognitive dissonance of like, okay, society, and you have people making you feel guilty, or even making yourself feel guilty of like, this is your parent, this is how you actually feel towards them. But because you're kind of pressured down, especially like when it comes to like how our ego and our super ego likes to kind of navigate the world and stuff like that, we have to love our parents, we have to give them us all of this and stuff like that, even if they're not even treating us right. And because we are taught this message that all parents are this, all parents are that, it makes it harder for people who come from traumatic households to actually see that this dynamic isn't healthy, and it's not helping them grow, it's not helping them evolve, that it's just keeping them stuck, it's just keeping them fucking stuck. um Especially too, so my family's from the Caribbean, and like, my Caribbean folks know how, family values are very strong in our culture, and obviously for great reason. And I honestly, I love family, I value family. Family's like the number one thing on my list, don't get me wrong. But it's also knowing to, you get to choose your family, you get to choose your family. The family that you're born into is not necessarily who's right for you. They're not even necessarily your family. Like, your blood family and your soul family are two different categories. Okay, two different. Like, especially too, like, me as your family member, if you can even show some type of like, you see, like, okay, now I'm gonna go back to what I was saying about my cousin showing some type of jealousy. So like, most of my cousins from my mom's side were born in Haiti, and a few of us were born here. And I kind of knew that my cousins, when they moved with us for a few years, this was like late middle school throughout high school, but like, I feel like I would always try to like, be friendly and get to know them, but they just had some type of resentment towards me, and I never understood why. And I was like, as I'm older, and when one of my cousins who I was very very close to, like, he also, like, this year, like when I got into like that, fight with kind of like my parents and stuff like that, that altercation, whatever, even whatever the hell that was, um he was just like, well, your mom really, you grew up spoiled and whatever. And it's just like, okay, one, me growing up spoiled is not really in my control. I'm not the one that had the money. And one, I'm a fucking child, so are you. I don't know why you would hold that against me. And two, okay, me being provided with material goods by my toxic ass mother, yeah, that's such a fucking blessing, right? Like, get over your fucking self, like, whatever. It's like, and you know what kind of person I am, you know me very well. Like, he's one of the few people I could say that really truly know me, and they know my heart. And but yet you let your jealousy of whatever, I don't even know, but jealousy, envy, no, if you have that in your heart, heal that shit, bro. That's not good. I'm not perfect. Like, I've had a lot of jealousy and resentment, no, jealousy and envy towards like other people, and then like I had peers in my life, like let's say if they had something that I wish I had, like, you know, loving parents or even more material goods, um or even like that I thought they were just attractive and I didn't feel attractive growing up. So yeah, that that would be a big that was a big thing for me. So but and I know like being in a polarity where jealousy was just really rampant and how I felt towards a lot of people towards my life, I knew it wasn't healthy, and I knew that it reflected something about me, not about them. It was never about them, it was only about how I felt, and how I'm projecting my insecurities onto other people, and that's not okay. And I had to take my time to heal that shit because I didn't want to show up in the world like that. Like, what's the point, you know? And especially too when you hold all this, like, but now like it's been months since I only talked to one member of my mother's side of the family. That's my cousin, my other cousin. We're very close, and I'm glad I have her in my life. So glad. um it's a raw video. It's a raw video because I feel like this is the first time I'm like actually sharing publicly, like, of all the things I've just been through in my life and all that. And you know, I think like this should just probably be a video where I really just talk about what it's like growing up with narc parents, but I don't want the things that I've been going through a lot, like, you know, all the grief and all, like, so I pretty much, I guess a bit more background about what's happened. So I moved out in late March. I stayed with my aunts. I got to, so that's where I want to go, is that, you know, when one thing ends, another begins. Because I had that falling out with my mom, I was able to reconnect with my dad and his side of the family, and I currently live with them, and they're the biggest blessings in my life. And I'm so glad that I made that decision to reach out to my father, and I got to reconnect with my aunts that I haven't seen in years, and it was just beautiful. It was such a beautiful kind of like reunion. And seeing my cousins I haven't seen, I like got to reconnect with my cousins who I haven't seen since I was a child, and it was nice. And I love it. I love them, and they've been such an important part of my healing journey for me. Like, I don't know what I'd do without them. You know. So now I finally rolled this thing. It's been a half hour since I've been recording this, and I finally rolled the joint. Oh my god, I am so proud of myself. See, when I get so lost in my own goddamn thoughts, this is what happens. Like, this is what happened. But now these thoughts about to get even juicier because I'm smoking a fat joint. And okay, you know, this joint makes, I'm particularly happy, excited about this joint because my car ran out of gas, so I can't go to the store and buy another lighter even if I wanted to. And I ran out of lighters, so my cousin let me borrow his. And yeah. But now let's talk. So, like, I don't, like, going back, so when I was talking about like, oh, all those like material goods that, you know, my mom would buy me and all that, it was kind of like a way for her to disguise how she actually was treating me. And maybe I, not even that, but more so, I think my mom knows on a deep level that she is emotionally unavailable, and she wasn't able to provide me with the love that a child deserves and child needs. So I think she tried to replace that with material, you know. It's like, yeah, I mean, as a kid it's awesome when you get like a new iPad or a new DS or something, but what I want is your love truly. But okay. And I think why this year in particular, like, it's also been the best and hardest year of my life, is because I really went on that my self-love journey and discovering parts of myself that were hidden, that I repressed, and finally letting it out, embracing me, embracing my shadow side, embracing my higher self, embracing God. And you know, that my spiritual awakening, yes, honestly, was the best thing that's happened to me. It was. It really was. I kind of just like to just sit back and just reflect. I would say I really, so pretty much my childhood, my adolescence, even my college years, I was just living in this negative polarity, living in this negative thought cycle, feeling like I was unloved, undeserving, and all of that stuff. And shit, this is very raw, but um, I feel like I never really got to share that truly. Like, I've had obviously like my closest friends that I have now and that I had in like kind of the past as well. Really helped me in my journey to understand what the hell was going on. Well, I think now I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Like, what the hell? I'm just kind of rambling because for a really long time I told myself I would never make, like, I don't have social media because um yeah, I'm 24 and I don't have social media. I deleted my Facebook over a year and a half ago. Social media was not good for me, especially when you're living in negative polarity and you're seeing people who have these curated versions of their lives that they're posting on the internet, and you're just like, oh my god, why am I not there? And especially some of the people I went to college, even whatever, ready in grad school, whatever, and I'm just like, oh my god, what am I doing with my life? Like, that's not okay. Like, why do I need to compare myself to other people? Other people are on their own timeline and I'm on my own timeline, and I really need to realize that. And also just like, why am I so focused on what other people are doing? And I was in a place where I was literally sitting in the bleachers in my own life. Like, I was not the main character. I was like living in this state where I was just kind of idealizing the things I would see, and how that added to my maladaptive daydreaming. So, you know, my maladaptive daydreaming definitely reduced a lot since I moved out, because it's like, well, I'm no longer in this, I'm no longer living in a space that's associated with my trauma. So that really helped. Wow. Oh my god, is it? And it's not, and I don't have water. Okay. It's still kind of, it's actually still lit. So I thought it wasn't lit anymore, but it is. Yeah. Tell you, the deodorant is trash. Like, what the hell is it doing to my shirt? Anyways, this is me. Going back to, so I was like still listening to music a lot, especially like if I really like a song, I'm gonna listen to it on repeat. I love it. I still have, my favorite song has been my favorite song for the past 7 years, like literally, and I don't get tired of it. I think I've listened to that song maybe over 20,000 times. Like, I was looking at my Spotify statistics one year, and it was like I listened to that song like a few thousand times. Yeah, that one song alone. Um, like, music does resonate with me, speaks to my soul. Especially I do. It's. I really hope it's not. Wait, I think it stopped working. Oh, never mind. It was me. Okay. Ooh, okay. It is working well. I always have ashes fall on me. I'll do it. Okay. What was I even saying? I feel like I kind of lost my train of thought when I was kind of talking about. So I'm making a lot of, like, every day I do it at work. Every day. Journaling has honestly really unlocked a lot of doors for me. And I did start journaling a little bit as a child, so I always knew journaling was always something I was always naturally inclined to do. And I have a memory when I was in 3rd grade and my mom read my diary, and like, she shamed me for it, and it's like, so ever since then I didn't really journal because of that. I did journal when I went to Haiti once as a child. I think I was 10 at the time. Yeah, I was. Um, I journaled about my experiences there, and I found that old journal. And I pasted it into my um current one of my current journals, one of the many journals that I'm using. And so it was nice to explore some of those memories that I did do little like entries like here and there. I journaled 3 days in college. I have that. That's a fun fact. But I didn't really get back into it until like I say almost a year after I graduated from college. Um, College is also definitely going to be another video because I feel like, ooh, that'll definitely be another video. The fact that like this is my first video, I'm recording it right now, and I'm already thinking that will be another video. I don't know if that's saying something to me. I don't know. So I so 2 weeks ago I just completely stopped listening to music altogether just to really help me focus. And it kind of just this week alone, I'm just like, whoa, because I'm not using like former coping mechanisms that definitely my ego has used in the past to help me navigate the environment that I was in. And it was useful at the time, and I acknowledge that my ego has, constructed that kind of in like fantasy world for me, because that did help me get through a lot of the pain, but it was also a way for me to suppress the pain I was feeling. So I just said, okay, I'm just not gonna listen to music just for now. Whatever, however long I feel like I need that, like just to stop listening to music altogether. Like since I moved here, like I would maladaptive daydream, but it wasn't for long periods of time. And I was making sure that I was doing something productive while I was like listening to music. And I know that I was daydreaming, like making like going for a walk or cooking, um even just like watching YouTube videos at the same time, like just to make sure that my mind is still in the present moment. But music in general just has that comforting ability, and like collectively. So I think like I can't I don't want to shut down music ever for the rest of my life, because honestly I do feel like God speaks to me through music, like synchronicities. Like if I hear certain lyrics, I'm like, this definitely resonates with what I'm going through right now. um Even though like the urges, like I love music so much that like me cutting out music this week, I started actually playing whole songs in my head. Like, wow. But no, I think just these 2 weeks, like it's more so like of a wake up call. Like I think it's just like even a message from like saying that like, okay, I need to kind of like interact with people, like, and step out of my shell a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, I guess that's why I'm recording this, right? I told myself I would never like be on social media, and honestly I'm very still grounded on that opinion. But I think YouTube has been such a huge outlet for me, and even helping me through my healing journey, and it continues to do so. And I learn new stuff on YouTube every day, and have a lot of YouTubers who spoke to me. And I guess God is kind of telling me that those same voices that helped you, maybe your voice can also help another person. Maybe. Damn, that was kind of just like a little revelation I just had right now. This whole video, me recording this, is a whole fucking revelation. What? Like, me actually recording myself speak in front of a fucking camera? My lips are really ashy. Get that figured out. And I'm not even gonna try to like, literally, I woke up, changed into some clothes, It's just me. Like, I don't even care. Like, I'm just like, I'm just gonna get in front of a camera and just speak. Like, at this point. Like, I don't care if my hair is done or whatever. Nope. This is the real raw me. Like, I'm not gonna hide that. This is like my life every day, and I just happen to be recording it. But I'm like, you know what? I just need to. Like, if the world can't accept the raw me, whatever, sure. But if I can't accept the raw me, that's a problem. And me being raw, this is my form of self-acceptance. This, what I'm doing right now, this is me acknowledging everything, especially everything just like fuck I've been through. Like, I just been working through a lot of the thoughts that I've been having, especially in the past. And I know that rumination is something that is like I struggle with. Overthinking, I want to say rumination. If you were to ask me a year ago, yes, I would say rumination, but now I think it's just more like general overthinking. um I actually feel like I want to make this video over an hour long because I need to say what the fuck is on my mind. I do. I do. I'm tired of just fucking keeping it in my head. It's like, it's to the point where I'm just like, okay, like, even my own intuition was telling me, like, you're really in your own head a lot. Like, is there more productive ways that you can, more healthier ways to execute what's going on in your head? To not always live in it. Change is scary. Change is fucking scary. Like, me learning how to adult is scary. Especially, that's a whole other thing too, especially being neurodivergent. Whoa. Like, you're just hit with a lot of things at once. And part of me is like thinking, ever since I moved out, has those tower moments really just been just figments of my imagination? Because since I'm just so much of an overthinker, like, and journaling, reading, especially reading a lot of philosophy, that's a whole nother thing. I can definitely sit here and get into Marx, Hegel, and Kant, okay, all day, because those works truly speak out to me. I actually now feel like I want to kind of get into that side. Like, I'm just someone, I feel like I crave a lot of intellectual stimulation, if that makes sense. Like, I just like really like to spend a lot of my time like reading about philosophy, sociology, economics, political science, language learning as well, religion, theology, spirituality, metaphysics, all of that. I love it. History, okay, psychology. Funny thing is, I think I own maybe close to 400 books. You know what? Yeah, I'm always I'm always finding my eyes just locked down on a book, like, always. And like, parts of me, I think, you know what, I'm just gonna finally say it and share it, because I think, if you're someone who also is more intellectually oriented, um it can be hard to kind of find your community. um I've been like attending like meetups and Eventbrite webinars to really hear other people talk and even share my own ideas, like me joining philosophy groups online, I guess that's my form of social media. Um, is talking to like finding community where I do get to interact with people where it's either I am talking about philosophy, I'm learning another language and stuff like that, and it's like, you know, it's nice to have that. Like the internet's a beautiful thing, and it's like I was able to find all of these things for free, and wow, and it's nice to know that your people are out there. But I think like it's sometimes like when I was kind of saying that, I did actually meet a friend who's really into the same stuff that I am. But it's a little hard too, because I think it can also be a very lonely journey. Um, because like when you kind of want to share some of those ideas, albeit pretty uncommon ideas, a lot of people around you are gonna look at you like, okay, right. Particular, I had an interaction like with one of my cousins, right, months ago, and you know, I was very opening to hearing about her life, even though like some of the things, a lot of things she's into, I'm not really into, but it's just like she's my cousin, she's an important person to me. I want to like, you know, I like to share my life and have people close to me share their life. You know, like that's just part of like building a relationship, I guess. And like when I would try to like open up into like the type of stuff I'm reading, she kind of would be like, "Sis, nobody wants to talk about that," but it's just like, you know, okay, cool. Especially too, if like I'm open to hearing about things that are important to you, but I particularly don't want to like, that is not particularly interesting to me, but I know it's an important part of you, like your life, and I want to hear that and be a person, be an open ear, but I also want that too. So, you know, if that can't be reciprocated in a way, then you don't have to be into like history, but it's just like I want to talk about it, and I just want an ear, like I like, and there's people around me too, like when they just let me rant, especially with my friends, like he just let me rant, even though he's clearly not into philosophy at all. Like I was just like ranting to him about what I was reading. I was reading Critique of Pure Reason, Kant, and the funny thing is, like, I was just kind of ranting to him about it, and he was just like, okay, okay, and it was like awesome. But it's like I don't necessarily care like if you're into stuff I'm into. I just want to feel like I'm heard, you know. But I know, like, yes, I, my interests are very uncommon, but they make me happy. I love them. I need some water. But I do definitely want to say that the ultimate form of love is self love. Self love is a fucking drug. It took a lot for me to get to say that, to get to a point where I truly believe that, you know? And that also just relates to like building my personal relationship with the universe, the divine, Allah, God, whatever you want to call it. I believe in it all. Um, but I do want to particularly note that when you go through like a spiritual awakening, people think it's gonna be all like daisies and sunshine, abundance. Yeah, yeah, that stuff is there, but oh gosh, it's it's the it's looking into parts of yourself that fears that type of change where you can bring in that kind of more love into your life, if that makes sense, like getting even to the point of self-love, and even probably that being exchange into your external reality. Like me now getting to like know my father's side of the family, like I actually start to really see what unconditional love looks like, and it's mind-boggling to me. Like, damn. Like, I'm talking about my aunts who I haven't seen in years, and they accepted me just with open arms, no questions asked. That was like that was a tower moment for me. It's like knowing that, like, truly, people who truly align with you and your vibration, they're gonna show up for you, and you're gonna show up for them, you know. But in order for me to get there, it's realizing that I am capable of receiving that love. Like, a lot of people think, I don't even want to say a lot of people think, like, how many people have I even interacted with? Like, lol. Anyways, okay. Oh no. But going back to what I was kind of saying about having like a spiritual awakening, it's like an ego death. It's a fucking ego death. That shit's scary. Shit's scary. Because you're really dissolving parts of you that you believed was you, like, that you identified with, and you lived with that for so long. And now when you're kind of just like spending that time to not even just like, I want to say in particular, especially like in a shorter frame of time too, when you really just have to sit there and kind of like challenge everything that you were taught, like all that conditioning, all of that, like you're just undoing it all, and that shit is actually really painful, because like part of you wants to stay attached to that identity because it's comforting. It's simply just a source of comfort for us. It's just because it's familiar. But is it even what we truly believe? I don't really. No, it's not. And that also kind of comes down to like when I was kind of talking about like being comfortable with my own companies, because I know myself. I like, it's to a point, like I love myself to know, like I have a strong sense of self, and that, damn, I feel like I just lost my train of thought. Like, this is some good bud. Anyways, was I kind of talking about personalities? Yes, I think I was. Um, a lot of, you're really just conditioning, and a lot of that conditioning also stems from us wanting to seek that external validation, because we're really caught up in the physical reality and what that looks like. And even too, like, just now I just been feeling like really kind of directionless a little bit, if that's the right word. Just kind of lost in my own thoughts a little bit. I don't even want to say a little bit, a lot. Okay, high key. Um, Relating that to how we look at our physical reality, because what we see in the physical, that's what our ego predominantly wants to identify with, and it's learning that your physical reality is just an illusion. It's just an illusion of your ego. That's a hard thing to really sit with, especially for me. Whew, like now I kind of want to relate that to the kind of maladaptive daydreaming I was talking about. It's like everything that I created in my mind was just false. It's just a portion of my psyche that decides to build up these elaborate stories that just don't really connect with reality. And now when I am caught up in a crossroads where my the storylines that my ego created does not align to what is in the physical, it's like mind shattering. Because like now when you really get caught up in your ego, you start to build um you start to correlate some certain emotions towards that. And now what you're doing is you're going to identify with your emotions as well. It goes deep. It goes really, really fucking deep. And I think part of that is knowing that, also to processing your emotions, but not identifying with it. That's so hard. I think this is something I said in my journal. I wrote, "You're not upset at that object. Rather, you're upset that it did not fulfill your ego's expectations of it." Yeah. It's like when I want to think about when I get kind of stuck in my daydreams, like maladaptive daydreams, in a more kind of philosophical, even psychological level, is kind of understanding the how, like, the object of desire. Like, what is that? I don't know if it was like Freud or Saussure who got into it, or Lacan, one of those guys. Definitely one of the more the linguistic side of philosophy. Um, it kind of even goes back into like attachment styles and shit, right? Especially like, even though like psychoanalysis, we all know Freud started that shit. Freud in particular is really, really interesting. Um, he gets into like the relationships of how um infants relate to the world, and how that's kind of executed through that infant's relationship to their parents. And ooh, and he's in oh dang, he even goes into even more like some of like early studies of personality disorders, and how like narcissism kind of, in the relationship to how narcissism, like how that develops within the ego. And yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So it's been about an hour since I've just been talking to this camera, essentially talking to myself, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just doing it, I guess. I guess okay, I guess another part of me recording this video is kind of, I want to play with iMovie a little bit, and I'm just like, what better ways to do that than look at how I come off on the camera, I guess. I don't know. Just trying to explore. Not be in my own head all the time. But yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Part of me kind of just wants to stop recording this video now because, like, me even recording myself talking to camera for an hour is just, the idea of it is just kind of astounding to me. So, I'm even flabbergasted by my own actions right now. So, like, no lie. So, like, I never would imagine myself putting my, like, just putting my face in front of some fucking camera and just be like, oh yeah, let me just ramble on about life. Yeah, I didn't think that shit. I didn't even wake up this morning thinking I was gonna do this shit. Like, what the hell? But here I am on a Friday afternoon. It is 2:39 p.m. October 28th, 2022. What a, I think fall is also such a beautiful time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year. I mean, I'm a Scorpio moon and a Libra rising, so I can see why I love fall so much. I feel like, okay, if I ever decide to make a video, I guess, about spirituality and religion and shit, I don't know, theology. I've been so I guess some works, you know, I guess I can do that in a different video because, like, I would actually, like, want to, like, have the books in front of me, like, all prepared because, like, they're like scattered everywhere. So, like, yeah. I don't know what the fuck am I doing. What would I even want to title this shit? Or even call myself, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I guess I'll just go with the flow because if I don't do that, it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good. Okay, like this. J is done, like a little bit. No, it's not done. Ooh, got some more to suck. Wee. I guess I'm at a point where I'm just like, I don't give a fuck who sees this, right? I don't know. It's a figment of my own fear. Yeah, I can't even smoke right. Oh, that happened. I guess, what am I gonna do? I've been eating bagels as my first meal like this past like week or two. So I love bagels, I guess. Okay, let me clean up my mess. It's nice doing this. Now I'm just like, whoa, I just did this. But yeah, I'm gonna go